Coming into this rivalry game fresh, I'm just curious what you've learned from some of your teammates, guys like Bryce and people who have been around it before.
One thing I just took away from, this rivalry for them, it just this means a lot to them. So, guys like me that are not from here, just gotta embrace that and, be there for my teammates this week.
We're on the right.
I've heard a lot about the nickname "Leak the Freak." Is that something that started here, or is that something that came with you through colleges?
That's just my PlayStation username.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're on the left, James.
If you could just get into the beginning of your journey in the league in terms of just how you ended up where you did at the jump, how do you end up in JUCO, and how you navigated over the last couple of years to go from one spot to the next.
In high school, I didn't really take, classes serious. So I had to go to junior college just because of grades and things like that. But I promised my mother, having to go to junior college, I would work on, doing my school so I knew my talent, could take me somewhere. And, coming out of JUCO, went to the University of Alabama with Nick Saban. He ended up retiring, things like that. So I just feel like it was best to, move on from that program. And then, last year at Florida State, I thought that would have been, my last year of eligibility. And then after the season, I got a call basically saying that my 2 years of eligibility could possibly be granted back to me just because of the JUCO rule. So just knowing my relationship with Coach Lanning and just the staff, I feel like this was the best opportunity for me.
Back right, Brett.
Like, I want to go back to what you first said, just kind of embracing the rivalry. How do you personally do that? How do you make sure that throughout this week you find ways to embrace the rivalry and kind of get into it, into the spirit of the game ahead of this Saturday?
Just one thing, don't, with games like this, you can't, be too high, too low. It's a rivalry game. So records really don't matter. I've been in college football and played in, some really good rivalries. So records coming in really don't matter. But just knowing, that this means a lot to the people of this state, this means a lot to everyone that's poured into this organization. So just knowing, there's a target, on this game, things like that. So just telling my teammates that this is really bigger than us, but also telling them that this is just another opponent on the schedule. Don't, get too high, get too low on it.
Middle, Aaron.
What would you say are just some of the main reasons why do you feel like you found success here so far this season?
First, I would say, my Lord and Jesus Savior Christ. Just honestly getting into the Word and knowing that my confidence comes through Him, and knowing that no matter judged by whoever highs and lows, just always turn on to Him, and just knowing that He has me and He's really all that matters. But also having just the staff and teammates that I have that pick me up, knowing I came from a 2-10 team. So, it was kind of a hard transition just because, a year of that confidence gets low and things like that. But, just being here, I just had to lean on my teammates and the Lord.
We're on the left, Eric.
Following up to what you just said there, you mentioned kind of confidence get lowered playing where you were before. What's the first 3 weeks been like for you where you're leading the team in all these receiving stats and been very productive each week?
Just really just a blessing. But honestly, just doing what I can, just for this team to be successful. No matter if I had lead the team in receiving yards, anything, I just, want to come out with a win at the end of the day, no matter how it has to get done.
Over here, John.
Said over the summer at media day that even just in practice in the spring, you could tell that Dante's arm talent was different and that he was able to hit you on some throws that before you would have felt like you recovered early in the season. Have you felt that out there early so far? The touchdown a couple weeks ago and then deep on the sideline on that corner route last week.
Oh yeah, so that corner route, that for sure was one where I was like, that was great ball placement. Because if you see, he really layered that throw. There was a linebacker, and that was just one of the ones like with Dante. No matter if you're the backside, you have to always think that you're getting the ball. But when I realized, to that point, his arm is unbelievable. Was that catch I had versus Oklahoma State? I was like, wow, like we got one of them ones back there.
All right, Zach.
Here's your thoughts on the uniforms this week. I mean, I don't know how extensive your knowledge of Nike and Phil Knight and Shoe Dog was before getting here, but what's it been like kind of learning that process and seeing these uniforms?
Just coming from JUCO and things like that, where we have, limited jerseys and limited gear, just being at a place like this to where, we get a new set of gear almost every single week, it's just like a big smile on my face just because like I'm, not really used to just being able to get, several different pairs of shoes and shirts and things like that. And then the jersey this week, I think they tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Two more. We're going to go here with Jack and then finish with Eric.
As someone who's been around a lot of elite quarterbacks and a lot of great talent, what is something that you tell Dante as someone who's basically in his first year starting?
So, he gets all the hype and things like that, but, I like to be the guy that, keeps him down to earth. Like, basically just telling him, like, I know you see a lot of this rat poison and things like that you see on Twitter and things like that, but I tell him, don't even get caught up into things like that. But I feel like, he's a very good person. He doesn't, care about stats and things like that. He just wants to win. So when you have a quarterback that doesn't care, how many passing yards, how many touchdowns and things like that, he just wants to win, it's going to make our team go a very long way.
Here, Eric. Last question.
One of the things that stood out is just your speed. I'm curious, kind of silly question. Like, when did you know you're fast? What's your background with? I know you ran track in high school and everything. What's your background with just kind of that part of your game?
When I realized I was fast was my senior year of high school when I ran the 10-3, 10-4. But like I was like, that's blazing, but I didn't really know how fast that was till I got to college and I started seeing the catapults and like the miles per hour and things like that.